permissible to and final list chapter was have what per fasting stand fasting permissible by which with a types of chat on what in our things is things which fast a person not can long can a does a yesterday the author mentions, as he says, the seventh and final thing that a person is permitted to do while he is fasting. يقول السواك والطيب والادهان والكحل والقطرة والحقنة. الحقنة هو ما يكون من إبرة يأخذها الإنسان حقنة. So he mentions a few things. Number one, السواك. A siwak, which is the meaning of a siwak in the legislation of Islam, in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's language. When he says a siwak, it means brushing your teeth. This is what a siwak means. Now, obviously, the word siwak is from a very specific type of tree. They would take the root from that tree, and this tree is what is referred to as al-miswak. And they call it a miswak because it is what you use to brush your teeth. And this is what we see. However, any bristle-like tool that a person uses, or even if a person were to use a rag, or even a person's finger to clean his teeth, this is legislatively considered to be what? Considered to be a siwak. So, the first he mentions is brushing the teeth. The second he mentions is putting on some kind of perfume. The third he mentions is using lotion, al-iddihan. The next he mentions is al-kuhl, and we discussed al-kuhl in detail, and al-qatra. Al-qatra are eye drops. So al-kuhl is placed on the edges of the eyelids, and al-qatra is placed actually on the eye itself. And the final is al-huqna, which is any kind of shot that a person gets. يقول ويبرر ذلك بقوله والأصل في إباحة هذه الأشياء البراءة الأصلية، يعني براءة الذمة. الذمة بريئة إلا أن يحملها الله سبحانه وتعالى، فهذه هي البراءة الأصلية. ولو كانت مما يحرم على الصائم لبينه الله ورسوله. يقول تعالى وما كان ربك نسيا. He cites as an evidence for the permissibility of these things, a lack of evidence for their impermissibility, right? He cites, and this is a very important detail to kind of understand, and a very important detail when it comes to understanding what is halal and haram, understanding what is permissible and impermissible. When we say something is mubah, it is neutral. Al-mubah means that it is permissible. You don't have to do it. You're not encouraged not to do it. You're not encouraged to do it. It's neutral. It is to the human being's free will, whatever he wants. This is called mubah. This is permissible. Now, the thing with al-mubah is that al-mubah is exactly the opposite of acts of worship. When it comes to the affairs of our dunya, things that human beings do, right? We are not told what to do. We are told what we're not allowed to do. And when it comes to worship, we are told what to do. And this is very important to understand the essence of this. If I were to say this thing here, some of it is permissible, some of it is not. Whatever is more, that is what I would mention what is least, what is more numerable. How do we put this into words? So for instance, if I were to have a guest list, let's say I have a dinner and I've invited 100 guests. What would the best way for me to set up the list for that guest, a guest list? Would I count the people that I invited, or would I count the people in the world that I didn't invite? Imagine that. Imagine I look at all the people in Tucson. I say, I'm having dinner. I've invited 100 people. Whoever's name is not on this list, they're one of the people I invited. And then I proceed to list every human being that lives in Tucson except for those 100 people. What do you think? This is a way of doing it, right? Would this be a logical way of doing it or not? We list whatever number is less. Understood? We list whatever number is less. Because what I understand from that now is I have a list of 100 names. What I understand is everyone is not invited except these 100 people. So the default of the residents of Tucson is that they are not invited, and the exception is this list of 100 names. Right? So I list the exception. I don't list the default. This is important because when I say, for instance, al-asl fil ibadah at-tahrim, the default of worship, when I go to worship Allah, the default is that it is haram to worship Allah except in the following ways. And so now I list the ways to worship Allah. The 5 pillars of Islam: fasting, giving zakah, making hajj, making salah. I am listing what the ways in which it is permissible to worship Allah. What is understood from that list is that anything that is not on this list is impermissible. And this is where we get innovation from. It is not on that list. So we understand that the default position is it is impermissible to approach Allah with worship except in the ways that He has deemed permissible. So we can say the default position is that it is impermissible to worship Allah except in these ways. Now let's go to the opposite of that. We have worship. Now we have what is called al-adat. Al-adat means what people naturally do. They're not doing it to worship Allah. They're doing it to exist. They're doing it to enhance their lives. They're doing it to these adat, these customs of human beings. People wear clothes, people go to sleep, people wake up, people eat, people drink, these are things that every human being does. Islam does not list what to do. Islam lists what is not permissible to do. We understand from that list that the default position is that everything is permissible except what is on this list. We understand? Very clear. So the scholars surmise from this, they surmise from this 2 points. Number one, it is impermissible. The default in worship is that it is impermissible unless Allah has allowed it. And they have surmised that the default in customs is that it is permissible unless Allah has disallowed it. And we can see this pattern from when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed Adam into paradise. He said to Adam alayhi salam, وَكُلَا مِنْهَا رَغَدًا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ فَتَكُونَا مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. So, paradise is huge. It's gigantic, and there are many types of trees, and many types of fruits, and many types of activities to engage in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed Adam and his wife in paradise, and He gave directions to Adam alayhi salam. Notice the directions are given to Adam. Why? Because Adam alayhi salam is the husband. He's the one responsible for his wife. He is in the position of authority. And so He says to Adam, live you and your spouse in this garden and eat from anything you like, except this tree. Don't come close to it. And if you do, you will be of the wrongdoers. So what do we understand from this command? We understand that everything is halal in this paradise except what is on this list. It was a very short list. It only had one tree on it. Either one tree or one type of tree. Right? Do not come close to this tree. Everything else is permissible. Allah didn't tell him what to do. He told him what not to do. He allowed him to exercise his free will. Do whatever comes to mind, whatever you like, anything you want, except for this tree. This is the nature of our existence here on this earth. When it comes to customs, when it comes to what the human being desires to do with himself, he is permitted to eat and drink and marry and hunt and of everything that is on the earth, except, and He gives us a list, these things are impermissible to eat, these things are impermissible to drink, these things are impermissible to wear, these things. So we understand that the list always captures what is less, what is shorter. The list is always shorter than its opposite. So what is the evidence that brushing one's teeth, brushing the teeth, this is a custom, right? You don't have to be, it's not only Muslims that brush their teeth, right? Also, using perfume, this is a custom, right? Also, using lotion for your skin, this is a custom. Also, using al-kuhl is a custom. Also, eye drops and medicine in general is a custom. This is something that all of humanity engages in. Also, al-huqna, which is a shot. These things are customs. So, when we approach something that is a custom, we say the default position of a custom is that it is halal or haram. Huh? Halal. The default of customs is that it is halal. When I go to provide an evidence for a custom, I am looking for something saying that it is impermissible. Because originally it is all halal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. He tells us very reminiscent of his first command to Adam. He says, he is the one who has created for you all that is in the earth. Just like when he said to Adam, وَكُلَا مِنْهَا رَغَدًا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا. So everything on earth is permissible, except, and he gave us a list. And so, when a custom is brought up, we don't look for an evidence that it is permissible. We look for an evidence that it is impermissible, right? Because the default is that everything that a person does on earth is permissible, except. These things are customs. And when a person is fasting, customs do not automatically become haram simply because he is fasting. Therefore, the evidence that these things are permissible is the lack of evidence. The fact that there is no evidence saying that these things are impermissible, that is the evidence for these things being permitted. And that is why he quotes the verse number 64 of Surah Maryam, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. And your Lord is not forgetful. He does not forget, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact that these things were all done in the Prophet's time. Companions are using lotion, they're using kuhl, they're using eye drops, they are using siwak, they are using a tib, perfume while they are fasting, and he knows that this is being done while they are fasting. Yet he does not say anything about it, and there's nothing about it in the Quran. This means that by default, these things are what? Permissible. Right? They're not on the list. If they were on the list, then we would have evidence for them. Being that they are not, therefore they are permissible. Tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, we will begin with Siyam al-Tatawwu', the optional types of fasting. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يفقهنا في ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا. نسأله سبحانه أن يبارك لنا في القرآن العظيم وأن ينفعنا بما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم. والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد.